think today I was speaking to someone, and I said I'm not going to draw a comparison to Shane Beamer, but when I started looking, a while ago at where he started, where he's been, and the process, and then being at Wisconsin, being at Akron, and getting to where he is at Chattanooga, it just kind of gave me that opportunity to say that, okay, he is a sitting head coach. He's had to go to a program that needed some work when he got there, and he proceeded to make it happen. I think he was maybe 62 and 30-something in his last 3 years. And I know that there was another school that was ahead of us in the process, and I thought he could possibly come off the board, but he didn't. And he was still playing, and of course, as I said earlier, when he got beat, that was the opportunity to get in person, and that's what happened. He did tell the truth. Chance was talking to him about getting over here, and I was talking to Chance about going to pick him up, and an hour later, Chance says he's driving. and I thought, well, maybe we should intercept him. And then I'm thinking, no, it's okay. Let's let him come on. So he got here Saturday night.
Along the lines of what I asked him, what did he say to you that won you over? Is there a moment that stuck out where, in his interview, where
there was actually. As you can tell, he's a person that you can tell he's going to laugh a little bit. He's going to have a good time. He's going to work extremely hard. But during our conversation, he and I were talking, and I said, my expectations are to play in the postseason, period. And do I think he should do it every year? We'd like to, but Dawn Staley has a dynasty, and it's not easy for other sports to do what she's done. There's some that have had some great success, but the expectations are to get to the postseason with our basketball program on a regular basis. And I just want to be clear. And he said to me, which I knew already, he said, I have a habit of being in the postseason. And he's only been a head coach for a short period of time, but the track that he came from, I think what I said up there, he's been in 9 of those and played 20-something, 26 games. It speaks volumes.
How much was head coaching experience in terms of just the value you placed on the
I never, I talked to an assistant. There were a few guys that y'all weren't aware of that I was talking to, but I thought that it was important. This is the Southeastern Conference this year, the best conference in the country. There was a lot of turnover in the league, and I think sitting in the chair, in his case, for 5 years, with the background that he had, I thought it was an invaluable opportunity, and it was important. But again, there was an assistant coach that I did speak with, more than one actually.
Right, from a national perspective, there was a lot of criticism about this search process. Some of the national guys were saying, disjointed mess, terms such as that. How do you respond to that?
Who you speaking of one particular writer? Yeah, that somebody sent that to me last night. It's completely inaccurate. I'm pretty sure I know where the comment came from and who said it and why he said it is because the choice that he had to be the coach here wasn't the person who got the job. So I'm well aware of that, and that's just part of it. You have to take some of that. But I can tell you that I would be the first to tell you that we did this, we did that, we did that. We were on the go, we were on the move, and we stuck to our process, and we ended up in a great place. Yeah, I didn't appreciate the comment, and that's part of what you have to deal with, and I understand that it's not perfect, but it's okay.
With Lamont's salary, how much did you look at the rest of the league, at least as we know salaries now before the new guys came in, and say we got to get them in line with that?
Well, it's comparable in a marketplace, and that's one of those things that I was well aware of what had transpired in the last few days, and I felt like we put him in a good place, with an opportunity to grow and to get better. It's a really good contract to start with, and I hope that he puts us in a position that it has to be bigger in the years to come.
What are some of the things, whether it be the community, fans, the administration, that can help Lamont Lamont be successful to be able to, exceed the expectations that you guys have for him coming in here?
Well, I think that once people get to know him, and he has a tremendous personality. He likes being with people, and he'll embrace this community. There's no doubt about that. I believe they'll embrace him. I know that he and Dawn spoke yesterday. They were on the phone, and she tweeted out today. So he's, if he was on Twitter, he'd be trending right now, I guess, right? But those kind of things. But I think he'll be extremely popular here. But we all know that a lot of popularity depends on how many games you win.
Is there anything from an evaluation when you guys just from an athletic standpoint, when you probably do your end of the year, thinking like different sports, how you guys can help out or at least take steps to be better for the next season? Is there anything in particular that comes to mind, Ray?
With
just basketball, I'm sure you guys do like an evaluation at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a chance to talk to some of the staff. They're still here. The staff is still here working and talk about some things that we could do, need to do, and we're in a good place. As Coach Parrish said, we're in a good place in what we do. And he was in our facilities today and looking around. But he's a guy that's going to roll up his sleeves, and he's going to be in the gym. And that's the important part. But we have to continue to provide resources and opportunities for our student athletes. I've always said we're going to take out any negativity in the recruiting process. We're going to do what we need to do so that if a young man or a young woman comes here to visit our campus, that they make a decision that's based on things that don't relate to any things we don't have.
There was obviously a push from former players about another candidate to hire. Are you worried about alienating any of those guys, and what's kind of your message to them as you sit here?
Well, I value our former players and our lettermen. There's no question about it, and you're speaking in code, but I understand I understand your code, and I had a great conversation with the person you're speaking about, and I did get a chance to meet him, and we didn't go in that direction. And I'm hopeful that, as a former letterman, if I was in basketball, it very well would have been my favorite too. That's just part of the process. But I think when people, get to know Lamont, that they'll embrace him and everything will be fine.
What made him best fit for this university? What stood out, the one or two things?
Well, I just think, like I said earlier, I think his growth pattern that he's been on, the time he spent as assistant coach, where he started, where he ended up, the opportunities to be successful in a program that went to postseason, that saw it firsthand, how it really works, and then going to a program that was not very successful immediately, where he got hit, he got punched in the mouth early on, and then he built that thing up. And, he improved his net ranking at Chattanooga every year from the first year to this year. I think it was a 63 or so. He improved it every single year that resulted in a championship for him. So I think it was the body of work that made a big difference.
Ray, obviously you want to move quickly through a search and hire the right guy and all of that, but when there are, what was it, I guess 5 or 6 SEC schools hiring, I guess just how, if at all, does that factor into what y'all are doing? I mean, is it a little bit of a boat race? How do you work through that?
It was, I don't know how you describe it, but it was boat race. It was hectic. I think I alluded to it earlier. I know there were 2 nights where Chance and I maybe got 3 hours of sleep because we just didn't feel like we could stop, and we didn't stop. When we had the meeting with Coach Martin, I guess it was a week ago on Monday, that was from an integrity standpoint. I didn't move forward before that. Now, were agents calling? Were we talking? That happens all the time. But we did not move forward, and then we did. And we haven't slowed down. I think tonight might be the slowest I've been in quite a while. So that's just part of it. And it was a unique year that, 5 jobs ended up opening? Is that what?
5 or 6.
6. So, so Coach White went over to Georgia. And then we see the other positions in our conference are filled by the mid-major guys, if you will, right? Which is sort of normal. And so now we'll see who does the best in that group. But it's been hectic. But you know what? It's also exciting. It's exciting. You meet a lot of people. Like I said, I did not have a bad experience. I've lived in this world before, and to visit with coaches and hear about their philosophies and things that are important to them, it's a rush, but a good one.
Franco, speaking of that, under the terms of his last contract, did Frank receive his full buyout?
Yes.
In terms of expectations, year one? What does that look like for you in terms of what Lamont does here?
Well, you know, we live in a society that we're not very patient, right? So you know, I like I said before, I coached for a long time, and people that think, well, they got to be in the postseason every year. That's awesome. If you can make that happen, and like I said, we have a women's basketball program that if she didn't make the postseason, I don't, you know, what would we do? You know, so it's like I think that the last check I had, all of our sports here have been in the postseason at least once in a 4-year period at the very minimum. And am I going to say that he's got to be there next year? No, I wouldn't do that. We'll see how it unfolds. But I think it'll be an exciting brand of basketball and the things we've talked about. And we talked a lot about that during the process. And I had to tell him like 3 times, I'm not a basketball aficionado. I understand what you're telling me you're going to do on defense and how you're going to create points. I get it. But that's, you know, that'll happen later. So let's hope we get this place packed and supportive, and we get the players in here that we need to make a big step.
Did you have to make any promises or guarantees on any kind of facility changes, practice facilities, anything along those lines?
No, that quite honestly, I didn't deal with that with anybody I talked to, but that would have sort of been a non-starter for me. When you start those kind of conversations, that would not be the fit that I'd be looking for.
You mentioned his net rankings going up every year. As you guys were going through this search, I know people talk more and more about the net and those metrics with the tournament. Is that something that you guys were looking at too?
Well, we look at it, but you know, probably like you guys, there's part of that net that I'm not sure I agree with the formula, if you will. So I think that has to be looked at as we go forward, or the NCAA does. But no, it's just something that you take a look at and you see what the rankings are in different categories, and it's part of doing your homework and looking to see what jumps out at you that could be worthwhile.
Ray, you've obviously been in this business a long time as an AD, as a coach, all of it. I mean, criticism comes with it. I mean, for you, just how do you go about dealing with that when there is outside noise about maybe a search or a different coach or anything like that? I guess just in your role, how do you kind of go about dealing with that?
Well, you know, I guess you could say, you know, back when I coached, I had a certain degree of success. I also lost. You know, these guys have been with me this whole time. You know, we got the program going, we won, we hit the World Series, boom, boom, boom. Then we had a gap, and you know, all of a sudden I'm not a good coach anymore. And then we hit another stride. Now the role that I'm in, the criticism comes with the job. I understand that. I like, in many cases, I want to take the bullets. I don't want my coaches and student athletes to have to take the bullets. But it's not fun. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't bother me. It doesn't. That's not what keeps me up at night. The other things keep me up at night, what I need to be doing to be better. But I used to take a walk a little bit for exercise. Now I take long walks, and I think they're more therapy now than they ever were before. Just to be honest with you, I mean, you have to decompress a little bit, and that's. I understand that. It's again, it's not fun. Nobody likes to be criticized. I don't care what they tell you. They may say, it doesn't bother me. Well, you don't like to hear it, but that's part of it. I understand that. And I'm not perfect. I mean, sometimes, you know, I don't do a lot of Twitter stuff, and I'm not on Facebook and, you know, that kind of thing. But I'll see some things, and Charles Bloom will share some things with me sometimes, and I'll say, why did you share that with me? But, you know, it's like you sometimes take a look at it and go, you know, could we do something a little bit better? But it's things that are important, like if our concession lines aren't moving good enough. Well, I want to jump on that. But if they say you're a bad AD, okay, next. You know, that's just, I can't. There's not a lot I can do about that. I can help concessions.
And you mentioned Chance. I know obviously he helped y'all with the football search as well. They got Shane here. I guess just how integral was he in this process with you? And I guess how helpful has he been as
tremendously helpful. I mean, he's you know, we just lost one of our staffers, Dr. Steve Eigenbrot, to Towson. He's an AD now. Chance Miller's an AD as well. It's just a matter of time. You talk about somebody with a great background, who's also an attorney. You know, has that background. I sometimes scratch my head. I go, East Tennessee, you practice law in New York City. I'm like, I don't know how that fits, but he's awesome, and he was with me every step of the way, and that's the way I love it. You live and die together, and you're in each of those conversations, and and I'm very appreciative of the effort he put in.
Anything else for Coach?
What's your schedule for the weekend? Baseball tonight, Greensboro tomorrow.
Well, Hall's Chop House is on the list. I'm just being honest. But it won't be long because baseball starts at 8, right? So I got to do that, and baseball, and Coach Parris and I, he's got work to do tomorrow, but we're going to Greensboro too.
Oh, both of you. Go.
Oh yeah, we're both going. So that's, so we'll try to get it all in.
He needs to see that, right? He needs to see the Sweet 16.
Yes, he absolutely does.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks. Good.